Hello there. If you are watching this video right now, that means you're watching the first game review of possibly many. And yes, this is about the Xbox 360, if the title wasn't obvious enough. Before we actually talk about my review of the console, let's go over some of its history. So, as you may know, Microsoft was originally a PC company and still continues to do so to this day, but they wanted to get into gaming, so in 1998, they put Windows C in the unfortunately timed Dreamcast. But then Microsoft realized they could make their own console. So in 2001, Microsoft released the Xbox, and it did about as well as they were hoping. Microsoft actually lost $4 billion on the console, but they knew it would at least be somewhat of a success. So Microsoft went to planning. What Microsoft was hoping for is that they would make a system for a profit, because like I said before, the original Xbox was not cheap to make. So, in 2005, November 22nd to be exact, the Xbox 360 officially launched in North America and had its launch party at MTV, where it had all these amazing features like online connectivity and extras. But there's just one thing stopping the Xbox 360 from actually beating the PS3 or even the Nintendo Wii. These red corners make up a red ring. And if you got this red ring on your Xbox 360, this basically meant it's time to hold a funeral for your Xbox 360. Now, like I said before, Microsoft wanted to make the system cheap, so they don't do a loss on it, unlike the original Xbox. So they had to do some questionable budget cuts to the hardware, causing the actual cooling to not work that well, and for users getting this hardware error. Now, even though this was still going on, Xbox did have a few tricks up its sleeve. For example, it was the first console to actually take advantage of a high-definition video format with the short-lived HD DVD in 2006. Then it had a motion tracking camera in 2010, which allowed you to track your motions, of course, and play exclusive Xbox games. And it had its very own online service, Xbox Live, continuing on from the original Xbox. And speaking of Xbox, there are multiple revisions of the 360, including the Xbox 360 Elite, which had an HDMI port, the Xbox 360S, a slimmer version of the console, and the Xbox 360E, a model of the console which made it look like an Xbox One. And all these systems themselves were not discontinued until 2017, with games being made until 2018. Now, let me take an actual review of this console by me. Alright, here it is, the Xbox 360. First impressions of the console, it's definitely a smaller console compared to modern ones, such as the PS5. But this was 2005, and consoles didn't need much specs, so that's why they were able to make them smaller. Now, like I said, later Xbox 360 models used HDMI, but still had AV for some reason. They also, later models had built-in Connect. Here's the online port for built-in online. And here are the two USB ports on the back. There's also two on the front. Now, this is to connect controllers. This button's to do nothing. This is the power button. This is the diseject button, which could also be a power button. Now, some models had a ring, or like a 4 sections to make a ring, but this one just has a standard button, and you have to press it, unlike the 360S. And this is actually one of the few consoles to be able to expand your storage, because this is a 320 gig hard drive. and you just eject the insert like that. You put in the actual thing, and yep, this is the actual console. Now, the controller, however, there are two types of controller. The first one, which was likely the one you got back in 2005, was a pretty average controller. Your standard two joysticks, start and back buttons, no select, just back. The four colorful face buttons, a mediocre at best D-pad, shoulders, and this one has a rechargeable. But there was a second model released later in around 2010. This. Now, besides this thing, you might not notice much different. I mean, you still have back, you still have those triggers, you even still have that same connector. But the D-pad here rotates. This is classic style D-pad, and this is the new style they want you to use. And this one's a special edition, Modern Warfare 3. Now, let's review some games. Now, for these games, we're ever going to look at games that no one cares enough to play properly, that would be me, or these random yearly sports games. And keep in mind, two of the games aren't even in this picture. They're on the Series X, just backwards compatible with 360. And I doubt you're going to want to see TV footage, so I'm going to be using footage from other sources. Links to the description will be provided. So first of all, we'll take a look at the sports games. First off is Tiger Woods Master 2012. Now, golf may be a sport I actually do enjoy, but I actually don't care enough about sport video games, unless it's Mario Sports or some other type of form like that. Sports just aren't the best to be made into video games because it's something you could do in real life in a video game. The whole point of a video game is that it's unreal experiences you can't have anywhere else. Anyway, this is just golf, so it's fun, I guess. Again, it's like a 4 out of 10, and I know I'm using a PS3 footage here, because I don't have a capture card, once I said before. And motion controls are fun, I guess. So yeah. And also, yeah, Wii Sports does count, just to make that clear. I like sports games, I guess. Next up is FIFA 15 and FIFA 18. Now, the reason why I'm clumping these two together is like most sports games. They're basically the same, just with some features. And FIFA 15 has Connect support, which sucks, by the way. Which I'm guessing that's why FIFA 18 doesn't have it. So yeah, these are just normal soccer, or for other countries, football games that allow you to kick balls into holes, I guess. Yeah, you can basically have golf just with a stick. Now, am I biased against sports games? Not really. I'm just a bit bored of them, to be honest. And the fact that EA just decides to make yearly sports games really makes my perspective negative of them. As if they were just lazy yearly games by lazy people. So yeah, it's basically my experience. And I rate these games a 5 out of 10. I mean, they're not bad, but they're not the best. So yeah, that's how I rate them. Madden 17 for the Xbox 360. What can I say about this one I didn't already say for FIFA? They're just yearly sports games that don't care about quality. They just care about quantity. And if you want to play football, you could do that in real life with a ball, and that's it. You don't need a console, a controller, a TV. You don't need any of that. Just go out and play the real football. This gets a 4 because it's redundant and boring. Next up is Cameo Elements of Power for the Xbox 360. Now, this is what I played on Series X, and honestly, I didn't really get too far. The concept is cool. You get to turn into different creatures, but really, that's just it. I know Rare made a lot of good games, but they got bought by Microsoft. That really ruined a lot. And, yeah, that's all I really have to say. Because after this game, they really only did Connect stuff, which I guess I will do a video on that later. And, yeah, I will give this a 6 out of 10, but it could have been better. Next up is Jetpack Refueled. Now listen, I can review arcade games properly. Like, listen, I could probably do a 20-minute review on Pac-Man if I wanted to. But the problem is, there's just not much about them. Like, you could see, you just blast aliens and collect fuel, right? I mean, what more do you want me to say? I'll give this game a 7, but it is pretty good, just to let you know. Next up on the chopping block is Fable 2. Now, if there's any game I have no chance in properly reviewing, it's adventure type game, so you have to put like 20, 30 hours of gameplay just to like eat a sandwich. Now, I'm sorry for any of the reviews here, because these last 4 are literally just that. I mean, you could consider Destiny like more Halo-like, but still, these games are not good at reviewing for casuals like me, and yeah, I'd give this game a 6, I guess. It's pretty good, so review it yourself if you don't like that. Next up is Destiny, which, by the way, has DLC, which you'll probably never be able to buy again due to Microsoft's incompetence in closing down the Xbox 360 store. Like, what are they, Nintendo? Sorry for being so negative, but I guess this game's fine. Like I said, this is one of those, like, play for 20 hours games. But, you know, it has a decent online and got a sequel, so that's at least worth something, right? I'll give this, like, a 6 out of 10. And I'll give Microsoft's poor decisions a 0 for just not doing anything correct at all. Next up is Middle of Earth Shadows of Mordor. That's a hard title to pronounce. Anyway, this is actually published by the same people who did the Mortal Kombat games. So, yeah, that's really good. But, like I said, there's not much to talk about this. Just beat a bad guy, that stuff, you know. This game's good, but, look, I'm not the proper person to review these. Go ask, Nathaniel Bandy or Scott DeWaz or even LS Mark to review these. Because I'm not the one. But I can definitely review a bunch of other stuff for you. So anyway, this game gets like a 7. So yeah. Next game, and last game actually. Last up is Skyrim. Now this game has Kinect support, and yeah, it's just an adventure game really. 6 out of 10, I mean, like I said, these are games that would properly fit into my style of reviewing or interests. So yeah, I don't actually care enough about Skyrim to put it in its own video. Sorry for anyone who's gonna complain, but you should have played this game anyway if you're gonna complain. And overall, that was the Xbox 360. Overall, the Xbox 360 is a pretty good system, or at least for its time, because specs are definitely better with newer consoles. But even though the community was kind of toxic, it still was nostalgic to experience Xbox 360 again. And I will give this console an 8 out of 10. Now, this is only one of 3 series from this review type of style. The next one will be part of a cartoon series, and it'll be about a certain group of hamsters.